Hey, so you finished your book. Now you want to give it the cover that it deserves. And that's what this episode of A Writer's Journey is about, cover design, and what I learned over the years about giving my books the best covers that I possibly can. And I'll show you some that weren't so good. So let's get started. In case you're finding this series for the first time, I'm Charles F. Millhouse, the author of somewhere around 40 books, primarily in the men's adventure fiction series, sort of like Indiana Jones style action adventure, also known as new pulp. But I've also written some science fiction, a little bit of western, and some new supernatural. So I know a little bit about covers for books, and I also know a little bit about what doesn't work for covers of books. When I wrote my first book in 1999, I needed a cover to represent what the story was about. I mean, primarily it was the Three Musketeers set in space, and I gave it some twists. And I needed a cover to represent my vision of that book. Now, if you've watched previous episodes, you know that I'm not thrilled how that book turned out the way I wrote it. I was still learning. But I did find an artist. His name was Travis Walters. He's actually from the town that I live in here in Ohio. And he did the art for me for the book. And this is it right here. This is Travis's art right here. The title of the book, if you couldn't see it because of the glare there, is The Dark Frontier Saga, Keepers of the Past. Now, this was my first book, and the cover isn't perfect. Nothing wrong with the art. Travis's art is really nice, and I really like it. But it needed some work. And my friend at the time, who was helping put together the cover, he was also learning his way how to do this because he'd never done it before. So we were brand freaking new in 1999 trying to figure this out. Now, this book is no longer in print. And one of these days I'm going to rewrite it. It's on my schedule of things to write, to do a rewrite on it, because I do like the story, I do like the theme, and I want to bring it back. As you can tell, this cover's not perfect, but it did get my book out, and that was, something that I really wanted to do. I thought I was the end all of be all after I got that book published, and I still have a lot to learn. Several years later, I published another book. It was the first book in my Talon's Epic series. It was a 5-book series that told the story about Jeremiah Talon, an 18th century naval officer, British naval officer, who was abducted by aliens and taken into deep space to help fight a war. And the cover for that book is right here. And as you can see, it is also not a very good cover. I didn't have a lot of money in the early 2000s. I had small kids and I didn't have a great job, and all that's changed now. But anyway, this is what I went for the cover. I did this myself, and no, I am not happy with it. And that's why we changed it. And we changed it to this. This is the cover for Talon's Epic in memory alone. It's the first book in the series, 5 books, but this one turned out really well. And that series is done now. It's been done for quite a while, but you can tell by this to this, it there's a difference. And I'm very happy with this whole series of book covers. And one of these days, we're going to do an omnibus of the book series, and so I can get it on my table. Next came the Captain Hawkland series, and I had a cover artist for it, and I lost his information. And so I was unable to reconnect with him to do the cover for the book. But I decided that I wanted to do different artists for each book. And I did reuse a couple artists a couple times. But the first book in the series, The Secrets of Monster Island, this is the original cover right here. Okay. And it looks good. The art is good. It conveys what the story is about. And then the series continued, and here is the cover for another book in the series, and this is the Subterranean Empire. Again, good cover, good graphics, but what's it missing? It's missing. It needs to look like it's part of a series. It's missing continuity when it be a part of the series. Yes, the logo is kind of the same on both books, but it's just missing something. And then several years later, I met Jeffrey Hayes. He does art for Plasmafire Graphics, and he wanted to reskin all the books to make them look more like a pulpy fill type of series. And this is what we came up with. Here is the Secrets of Monster Island reskinned. And here is the Subterranean Empire reskinned. And you can see now they look like they're a part of the series, just like the Talon's Epic books. They all have the Talon's Epic logo at the top. They've all got this little feel to it. So that you know when you look at these book covers, they are part of a series. Where the first book, the original cover for this, didn't look anything that belonged to a series. I don't know what I was going after. I know I was going after. I didn't have any money. So then as the years went along, my friend Charles Davenport and I got a little bit better creating covers, and he did the covers for the New Kingdom Supernatural. It's a Western Supernatural series, and the first cover is this, and then the second cover is this one. And you see they're part of it. You can tell they're part of a trilogy series. And then the third book is this one. And for the first book, we used clip art with the cowboy on the horse right there. And then for the next book, a friend of mine dressed up like a cowboy, and we went out of the woods, and I snapped a picture of him, and then Charles Davenport ended up doing all the graphics and everything for it, adding the wings, because my friend didn't have wings. So, and then for the final book, these ladies right here are members of a sorority that I cooked for, and they obliged by posing for the 3 witches that are in this book. And again, I took them out into the woods and took a picture of them. And Charles fixed the rest of the cover. And then we kept going. By this time, we were hitting our stride. This is the cover for Origin Expedition, the first book in the Origin trilogy. The second book, and you see, again, theme, logo looks the same kind of color. You know, we're going from red to orange, and then the final book into yellow. So it keeps the continuity of the cover. So when people look at it, they know this is a part of a series. Now, Charles Davenport is a great graphic designer when it comes to things like this, but he's not an artist. He can't draw people as much as he would like to. I can't draw people. We all have our own talents, our own strengths, and we have to realize that we have to delegate out to other places. So I mentioned Jeffrey Hayes of Plasmafire Graphics, and I met Jeffrey. He contacted me actually and asked if he could be involved in any of the Pulp Reality anthology series that I was putting out. He contacted me after the first issue was done and ready to go to print. But we struck up a conversation, and we talked about the idea of Evolution Man, the first book in the series. And he did the cover for Evolution Man Year 1, and I'm trying to reach for it here. And there's the cover. And he's even told me that he would like to redo this cover, and we are talking about perhaps doing a special edition with a new cover and maybe some new chapters too. So that being said, he did the Evolution Man series, book 1, book 2. You see this is a promo copy. And the newest one that just came out, book 3. But see, they all look like they're part of the same series, and that's what you need to do. Now, there are some very extravagant covers out there. A lot of independent. Let me say that again. A lot of independent writers and creators have come up with some extravagant covers for their books. They've taken the pages and have had them inked to match it. A lot of times, it's a fantasy book or it's a romance book. They have inked the pages for their book, and I have not looked into that because it's not the kind of thing I really write. Although one day I'm going to write a fantasy novel, and that'll probably be on my bucket list of things to do. This is Captain Hawkland at War, and this was done by Jeffrey Hayes of Plasmafire Graphics. And this is part of the Captain Hawkland series. Charles Davenport came up with the original concept for the logo for the Captain Hawkland series. If you remember the first cover, that's his logo. And then Jeffrey kind of embellished on it a little bit and added some flair to it and gave us, the reskinned versions of the Captain Hawkland books. So this is one that he's working on. He's done some other Captain Hawkland stuff for me. He's actually currently working on the cover for The Lost Adventures of Captain Hawkland, Volume 3. So remember, when it comes to covers, continuity, make them look the same. Find artists that you can rely on. Talk to them. Let them know what you want to see in a cover. And don't be afraid when you get the cover, you want to make changes. They're working for you, so have them make the changes that you want. But going into it, you should really let them know, have some deep conversations about what your characters look like, what you want to see on the cover, and that kind of thing. But you're saying, Charles, I don't have the money to pay someone to do my cover. And I understand that. If you're somewhat talented as an artist, like Brianna Williams here, this is her book, Marona Grant. It's the first book in the Marona Grant series. I love this cover. She did this entire thing herself. So if you're this talented to do it, you can do it yourself. I love this cover. It kind of draws you in. I love the shadows down here. I haven't read this one yet, but it is on my next one to read after I'm done reading the current one that I'm on. Or you could go the route of James A. Fireman, and he also did the art for his Breaker Ford's Adventure in Space. He did the whole thing himself. He's also got another book out, Bigfoot in the Saddle, and he actually has illustrations inside that book. I don't have it right now. That's the book I'm currently reading. It's over in my bedroom. So, but he did all of this, so you could do that. Or if you don't even have the talent to do this yourself, here's a book called The Road. And it's a Pulitzer Prize winning book, and it's done by a mainstream publisher. And see how simple it is? It's just black with the title of the book. If you can go that simple for your book, at least to get your work out there, and then you can maybe, after it starts to pick up momentum, you can always change the cover like I did on some of mine. Now, if you're looking for cover designs, artists, Deviant Art, you want to go to deviantart.com. I found an artist on there named Damian Alves, and he actually won an award for doing the art for the first cover of my Pulp Reality anthology series. He just supplied just the art, and I put the rest of the cover together myself. If you have a little bit of talent like that and can do that, you can go find an artist on DeviantArt, or there may even be an artist there that can do your book, the whole cover of your book. You can also go to Fiverr.com. Fiverr, you can find some cheap artwork on there, but there's some really good artists, and they actually do whole book covers and everything on Fiverr, and they're somewhat reasonable. So go on there and check that out. And then there's bookcovers.com, and they're pre-made covers. So you go on there, find a book cover that kind of matches your story. Like I said, they're pre-made covers. Contact the person who made that cover, and they will adjust the spine size and the width of the book that you want to print your book in, right? And they'll put the back cover blurb on and everything for you. And I don't know if there's an additional charge for that, so you might want to go in and check. I've never used it. I know of people who have, and I have gone to the website and perused it and thought about it. But then the cover artist that I use the most now, and I've been using for a while, is Jeffrey Hayes of plasmafiregraphics.com. Go check out his website. He's got some good rates for independent authors. He's done some mainstream stuff too. So go check out his website. I don't know what kind of availability he has, but there's always that route you can go to. So I hope this information about book covers and what I went through and had to do for my book covers helped a little bit. If you have any questions about it, feel free to leave a comment on this video or just contact me directly. So speaking of comments, let's get into last comments from last episode. And we've got a couple I want to share with you. The first one comes from LS Goozdich, and Luke asks or says, I appreciate you very much for the shout out. I am always checking these out, brother. These are great. Thanks, Luke. And if anybody wants to check out Luke's weekly vidcast podcast here on YouTube, it's Men's Adventure podcast. And I'll leave a link down below for you to find it. And they talk about men's adventure fiction, pulp type books, and what they're doing with their careers. There's two hosts, and they talk about that and they share. I've even been on an episode, so it's a really fun show to watch. So check that one out. And from Charles Davenport, like we haven't talked enough about Charles Davenport today. Charles says, as a comic book writer and illustrator, building my brand is the hardest part. My ADHD and introversion have hindered my comic creation for a long time. However, with friends, family, and medication, things have improved. Creating ideas is easy, but putting myself out there for people to discover my work is challenging. Thank you, my friend. Charlie, you're welcome. You know, we've been friends for a long time. I was the best man at your wedding, and I want to help, always want to help anyone, especially my best friend, when it comes to promoting their work. And yes, it can be daunting. There's a lot to do, and you go to social media, and you promote yourself, right? And then all you hear is crickets. You don't get any comments or any likes, but keep doing it anyway. It's like when you're driving down the highway and you see a billboard every day, but you never pay attention to it. And then one day you glance up and you go, oh, well, where's that been? And you either write down the number, you remember the website. That's sort of like social media. You keep putting it out there, keep putting it out there, keep putting it out there. And somebody eventually will see it, like it, may even visit your website. So, and I really believe that if you don't have a website, you should probably consider creating one. And maybe in a future episode, we'll talk about creating a website. I am not a website builder master at all. I do have two websites, and they are right here promoting. They are choosetheadventure.net, which is the official Captain Hawkland website, and stormgatepress.com, which is the official home of Charles F. Millhouse, which is me. Guys, I really appreciate everyone who's watching the videos and who is liking the videos and leaving comments. And please feel free to leave a comment, ask any kind of question you'd like when it comes to book design or any other videos that we've talked about. So, guys, I want to leave you now with a video. Like last week, I left a little inspirational video at the end of my episode, and I think I'm going to do that from now on. So right now, here is your moment of inspiration.
Well, you have to write a lot. You have to write almost constantly every day, and you have to read as much as you can. If there's one fault or one thing that I find disturbing about people who profess a desire to be writers of fiction, is that you'll hear them say, well, gee, I really don't have time to read. Well, that's crap. Everybody has time to read. If you carry a book with you, then sooner or later you probably will read it. And you might be doing that instead of watching Seinfeld on TV, but that might not be such a bad thing. I sound like I'm scolding you. I'm really not. What I'm saying is that I think that practice makes perfect, and if you're going to be a writer, you have to write a lot, and you have to write a lot of fiction if you want to be a fiction writer.